Mickey Talks.
Hey, everybody. It is Mickey Talks. I am Mickey Coachella, along with my good friend and co-host, Matt Davis. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Show 36 today.
They said it would never last, Matt. I say this every day.
And here we are.
Here we are. Matt, so a lot of changes going on with the show. We now will
Good changes, I hope.
I think they're incredible. We will now be live every Friday from Natalie's Seafood Kitchen in Falston.
That's right.
They are an official sponsor as of tomorrow.
Tomorrow they start. Okay,
they
great.
start as an official sponsor tomorrow. Want to thank the people at Natalie's and Lou and Zach and Natalie there for believing in us. And we're really excited, man.
Yeah, truly grateful. And the place is amazing. We're going to be on the Tiki deck.
Yes.
So you can come out, enjoy the beautiful weather. It's supposed to be gorgeous this weekend, by the way.
It's going to be amazing.
And just amazing food, too.
Yeah. So if you're in the Hartford County, Northern Baltimore County area, you want to take a drive, Natalie's Seafood Kitchen right in Falston. We'll be there tomorrow doing our show at 5.
And before we get to our sponsor that you're going to mention now, I know, please remember to subscribe to us on YouTube. If you're watching this on Facebook right now, we're not going to be there forever. So we would love to have you subscribe to the new YouTube channel. That is youtube.com/Mickey Talks Pod. And of course, find us wherever you listen to podcasts now.
That is very true, and I would like to say that Mickey Talks is brought to us by Barnes Paving. That's barnespaving.com, BARNES paving.com. Give them a call, 443-243-3710. Barnes Paving is MHIC licensed and insured and accredited with the Better Business Bureau. They do great work, exceptional service, low prices, and if you mention Mickey Talks, you get 10% off at Barnes Paving. Any kind of paving you need, they can do it. The wonderful, wonderful people at Barnes Paving. Now, Matt, joining us on the show today, I've been excited because, I'm a huge soccer fan.
Of course, yeah.
And, my favorite Baltimore team, because they've won the most championships of any other professional.
Is that right?
They've won 10 times.
Wow.
I don't think the Orioles have 10 World Series.
Amazing.
The Ravens don't have 10 Super Bowls. Yeah. But the Baltimore Blast have 10 championships.
And this guy's responsible for it all.
I think maybe none, but we'll find out.
We're going to find out, aren't we?
Yeah. Joining us today on the show from all the way from the beautiful island of Bermuda, it is head coach David Bascome. David, how are you?
I'm good, man. It's nice to see you again.
You too, my friend.
Yeah,
always a pleasure.
This is awesome.
Now, David, what year did you start playing professional soccer?
1990-91, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Wow. So
Stop it now. You're trying to find my age out.
No. I'm just
bloody old. It's okay. Because over there smiling,
right.
But I'm older than you. You see him, man. Over getting a good chuckle. He knows.
I do love it, by the way. But, David, one of the things, you've been in the game now 30-some years, right? And you've gone from an outstanding player. You went indoor. There's something you probably never played growing up, I would imagine. And then you've now become the head coach of one of the two, in my opinion, 2 or 3 most legendary indoor soccer clubs in the history of the game. What's that like, man? I mean, when you look back on the 30 years, give me a couple words that just describes the whole journey.
Well, it's awesome, right? It's one of the biggest things coming up from Bermuda. My greatest value of my life was my legacy, what I'm leaving behind.
Yeah.
What a franchise. Playing for the national team in Bermuda, got a chance to actually be get involved into the indoor game. Didn't expect it.
Yeah.
The reality that I came here 89, 90 and was with to try out for the Baltimore Bays.
Did you really?
Gary Hinley was a coach.
Wow.
And at the time, I did not have my green card
or
work papers, and it wasn't coming until January.
Wow.
So Gary Hinley says, listen, I think you should try indoor, because by the time the indoor was starting up, I'd actually have my papers. And it was awesome, but just the culture here, unbelievable.
Yeah,
and moving here, I love Harrisburg when I went there in 1990, 91. But when I end up coming here 2002, I'm going to tell you, it's what a soccer culture here.
Yeah. Did it shock
awesome.
you? Did it shock
yes,
you?
It did. Yes, it did.
Let me ask you this, David. Did you have any idea that Americans could love the game that much?
No. When I first came.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
No, I did not. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I was over in England, and it was just different there, right? It was so business.
Of course.
With only basic high school education, I did not want to take that chance. I always like forecast what's going to happen next to me. So just traveling with the national team, trying to qualify for the World Cup and coming to the US, it was a really big to do. But when I stepped in the US, 1990, 91, and even in Harrisburg, you didn't see a lot.
Right.
But the fans, it was still this joy, right?
Yeah.
The game was an entertainment.
Yep.
It was a different appreciation.
Yeah.
It wasn't culture driven. So this was this organic fan based on fast paced, this American sport.
I love it. I mean, it's
so
interesting for me to talk to a guy that didn't grow up in this country. And, America around the west of the world, when it comes to soccer or football, they look at us kind of like, oh, really? Now you guys want to like it? You know what I mean? But, there are a bunch of us here that understand the history of the game globally and what it means. I want to start with you, though, Dave, because you have a fascinating story. You're from Bermuda. And Bermuda, tell us a little bit, give us a 2-minute Reader's Digest version of what the history of Bermuda was. Who was it settled by? How'd you grow up? What influenced you with the culture? Things like that.
Well, you're looking at when you're looking at Bermuda, and every time they visit there, they talk about friendly. We call everybody Bermudian.
Yeah.
You did not see the dividends. If it was racial dividends.
Yeah.
Everybody was Bermudian, no matter what color you were.
Wow.
1602. Just the first settlers there. And what you found is that there was this unique experience. And the interesting part is that I was going through my days of schooling, and you learned a lot about the U.S. history.
Yeah. And
they touched on Bermuda history, Bermuda culture, but it was really interesting. I learned more when I got older.
Yeah.
Right. The slaves in Bermuda was more through trade workers.
Yeah.
So that's what you got a lot of. So there was a lot of kind of really.
Was it settled by the British?
No.
Did England? Who settled Bermuda?
Well, we're trying to figure that out, right?
You still don't know.
Spanish. Yeah, you got the Spanish.
Right.
Yeah. So it was a whole. Yes, we are a British colony.
Yeah.
Juan de Bermudez. So you have this whole story, right?
Yeah.
And then you're looking at Bermuda, very, very small island. You have the areas of Bermuda, like one of the areas people will probably know of, St. George's. That was our first Hamilton. That was our first town.
Wow.
And then it was moved right into the middle. So all the trade was happening in these areas, right?
Wow.
And the one thing is that got to experience as I was going through is getting to really experience the culture of understanding, like the beautifulness of the country, the water, the people. And as we got older,
tranquility that is there.
It is, and that's what you get a lot, and what people always talk about. Bermudians, very, very proud.
Yeah.
We are very proud people.
Have you ever qualified for the World Cup? Has Bermuda ever?
Stop it now. See, you know the answers?
I don't.
Yes, you do know the answers. We talked about, you know the answers.
I forgot. I'll be honest with you, David.
This is why
I know. I should not have
I should probably talk to you because you probably have no idea.
I'll give him some notes. Get him up to speed here.
No. Our closest, or the closest we got was at when we was looking at the 1990, we actually was going through, and it was crazy because we was right there, El Salvador, Jamaica, and we wasn't many points away. But the one thing about football, as we call it in Bermuda, and soccer here in the U.S., it brought the country together.
Yeah, of course.
And as a young player, one of the things is that we just want to be entertainer. We didn't know about money.
Yeah, of course, right.
When you had, back then, you had the Manchester Uniteds, Liverpool, Nottingham Forest will be coming there, Tottenham, come there to train.
Really?
That was their training ground against our national players.
No kidding.
Yes.
So Man United's in Bermuda. As a kid, you can walk up, watch them train, playing with friends or older brothers.
Wow.
Is that what it was like?
Yeah, they came there for their training. They played against our national team and our local clubs.
Wow.
The game was huge then. And it was such to the point that we had a lot of top players that did not want to go overseas. They wanted to just play in Bermuda.
Right.
So did you have access to clinics and stuff from these players?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was interesting because they was an equal to our local players.
Yeah.
So it was our local players. Back in the day, we had the boot boys, shining players' boots.
Wow.
before the Sunday games, and you picked your favorite player for the local team.
No
and
kidding.
to have that player play against Tottenham,
Yeah.
and you're like, so we didn't see nothing but an entertainment. It's
Wow.
only
How
as
cool is that?
So what year are we talking? 90?
this was way back then. They was coming in the 70s, the 80s.
So
I would
you
say the
saw
80s.
some legends.
Yes.
Wow. Can you
Chris
imagine?
Waddle, Glenn Huddle.
Yeah, Glenn Huddle.
Yes,
Wow.
Benfica was on in Bermuda.
Wow.
But, no, you had some big teams down there. You had some big teams.
That's
Access to all your
impressive.
heroes is just amazing.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, now what? So let me ask you this: how many brothers and sisters did you have growing up?
7 of us all together, including me. 7 siblings.
7 siblings.
7 siblings. So,
And did all of them play soccer, or the boys?
this is a time I can kind of take the piss out on my younger brother. I can kind of let him know. Yeah, he didn't really play much, and my younger sister didn't really play no sports either. And then my older sister really did. She tried netball. Netball is a little different.
What is that?
It's a so if you take basketball but no backboard, yeah,
It's just a
so
circle.
it's just a circle, yeah, and you have to like 2 steps and you throw, you get your little. So it was positional play, right?
Okay,
But it was so technically done. So I love my sister to death, right? Since
but
my
she
older
didn't play
sister,
no
Robert-
soccer,
No,
right?
It was interesting because netball, you go watch netball before all the main games, like the main first division at the time.
Sure.
It's called, right? So that's the adult, the adult teams. So you got to come watch me play. And I'm like, okay, I come watch you play. It was just below the hill of my grandmother's house. I go and she's not playing. So I'm trying to figure it all out, right? This is a big to do.
Yeah.
I said, Robin, you got to work with me. I love you to death. You got to work with me. So, and then I realized afterwards, the second game came, she's still not playing. So, and I'm the youngest, right?
Yeah.
Of my, I'm the second youngest of the boys. And I said to my brother Andrew, who's the oldest,
Yeah.
and I said, listen, I don't know. Should I keep going? He says, yes, you must keep going.
Yeah.
I go back down there again. She's just sitting the bench again. But here's the interesting part. When they start to cut the team, I notice a shift in my sister Robin, right?
Right.
She's bringing home a bag of stuff. So all of a sudden, she ended up washing stuff. Like she's washing jerseys. She
became the team manager.
She's smart, right?
Yeah.
She's smart. She realizes that she's going to get her time. She
Right.
will get her time, but she figured, you know what? She's going to add a little team management, keep on the team and stuff like that. But no, she's going to kill me. But she got a chance to play, and it was cool,
Yeah.
It was cool. My brothers, my oldest brother was into cricket.
Cricket, I forgot.
yes.
That's a huge sport there.
Yes, into cricket. And then my
Do you
brother
like
Andrew,
cricket?
I can let you know. When it comes down to our cup match,
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay.
Cup matches,
Yeah.
it's our biggest. But I just to stay there and watch, it's kind of like baseball.
Yeah,
for
I
me.
don't get the
It's-
game.
It's a lot of time, and
Yeah.
I'll tell you how much. About 6-7 years ago, I went to watch one of my brothers play. He is the captain. He's older now, right?
Sure.
And I said, let me go watch him play. And cricket lasts forever.
Yeah. It's hours.
And I still didn't know that you just don't go until 3:00 in the afternoon. But
Right.
the game started at 10, so I'm
Right.
showing up 10:01, thinking I'm late. Nobody there.
They're
but
like
me.
7-8 hour games, right?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
go on
Jeez.
forever.
Yeah.
And it's just me, and I'm like, okay, what's happening here?
And the dudes are wearing
7,
slacks.
8-hour
Like, it's-
games.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
they go-
crazy.
yeah, they go your 2 day, but it's an awesome game though.
Did you appreciate as a kid where you lived? Did you understand how beautiful it was, or was it just so, you're living in it, so you don't appreciate it? Was there that?
You don't know. I did not appreciate because I didn't understand it.
Right.
It was a norm.
Yeah,
The
right.
beach is right there.
Yeah.
Every summer you go to the beach. And just the movement around, you didn't understand it until you got to travel
Right.
and got to see the outside. And that didn't happen until I was around 13, 14, tagged on with my brother's,
Sure.
soccer
Yeah.
team, cried
Right.
just to go on the trip.
Right.
No reason to be there.
Right.
But when I came and we ended up going to Detroit, but it was kind of cool. I said, wow, that was an experience of itself.
Sure.
Like watching the cars bigger.
Yeah.
You
You know.
realize everywhere else sucks besides Bermuda.
No, see,
right?
I'm not saying that.
No, I'm
That's-
saying
That's
that.
interesting.
I'm
But
saying
to
though.
realize that I live here,
Right. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm not going back to Bermuda tomorrow. So I'm not saying nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
It was just different. Bermuda at the time, the cars were certain sizes,
Yeah.
20 mile per hour Okay, you can't drive no faster.
This is in Bermuda?
In Bermuda.
Right, so you come to
taking
America.
That trip, you come in and you don't see a beach.
Right.
And you're like, okay, no water.
And you went to where? Detroit?
Detroit. Yeah.
Had you ever seen a city that industrialized and everybody going? What was that like for you?
I'm going to tell you, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was a different movement.
Yeah.
An aggressive.
Yeah, very.
That's culture shock.
Yeah,
sure.
No, it was.
Yeah.
And, it was just, it was a great experience. And you got to see the parts, like even different low. I mean, one time was one of the bike gangs. Didn't know nothing about it before.
Wow.
You know, it was really an interesting experience at my age. So I sucked it in. Oh, I pulled it up. And
Good
I'll
for
stand
you, man.
beside a car will go by me and I'm standing just watching it.
Yeah.
Long ass car.
Was that the thing? The big cars is what flipped you
big
out?
car, man.
How old are you when this
12, 13.
Wow, that's got to be the coolest thing.
Yeah, it was a whole different beast. And I'm like, all right, you know, it was cool.
Explain the shorts. Where did the Bermuda
shorts laugh? And
no, I'm not laughing.
That's what I told you the reason. Like coming on the show, I knew the piss taking was going to happen.
I do have a weird question for you after.
No,
David.
I'm trying to figure it out. Now I'm trying to figure out these shorts.
Listen, David, here's what I'm asking.
Right.
I truly love that look. Like a Bermuda short, a businessman. I actually think it's practical I'm wondering though, where did that come from and why is it attributed to Bermuda?
It's British. Yeah, that comes up. I'm not a fan of it.
No, you're not?
No.
I don't mind it.
And I think it's here because I was never into that business setting environment.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
If I was, and I got to wear long slacks, it's hot.
Right.
But then you got the beautiful pastel colors, same color as the houses. You got your pink shorts and your long socks, the blue socks. So that's what you see a lot.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't catch me in one. It don't make
Oh,
sense.
wow.
See,
Okay,
I like it too. I think that's the tourist in us.
Yeah, that's the tourist in us.
Yeah,
sure it is.
But that's all the businessman, right? The
Yeah.
businessman, your social, going out. You're not going out to party.
Yeah.
In some shorts and long socks.
I gotcha.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah.
So
when you're a young guy and you know at that age, like you were saying when you came to America the first time, 12 to 14, but back in Bermuda, what's the attitude like? What's the dream of a 12-year-old Bermuda boy?
just it was such an innocence.
Mm-hmm.
You just enjoyed life. You got to wake up, go outside, climb a tree, get yourself in some trouble. One of the things that was huge back then was carrying around your salt and pepper shaker, climbing up the avocado pear tree, peeling that avocado, putting some salt and pepper on it, and eating it.
Are you serious?
That sounds awesome, man.
I am literally drooling as he's saying it.
That was your thing, and it was like you come down with an achy stomach, but you go right back up again. That was our norm. The norm was to the neighbors' doors were open.
Right.
Getting on the bus, going to school.
Yeah.
The bus driver was your family.
That's
you knew
wild.
you couldn't act up. You couldn't, as we say this, because we say licks in Bermuda.
Sure.
You couldn't act up because you will get licks by the bus driver.
Right, yeah.
By the neighbor.
Right.
Before your parents get home.
And then you get the third ass
Then
whooping.
you get the third ass whooping. And then you got to go, all of a sudden, you got to go out. And here's the thing, because I end up eventually living with my grandmother. And when you got in trouble, stinging nettles, you had to go fetch your own whooping stick.
Yeah, I had to go get a branch one time.
So,
really?
Oh, yeah.
And as I was young and you peed your bed, stinging nettles.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That was just it.
Yeah.
Too lazy to get up. Sometimes that was me. Too lazy to get up and go to the bathroom. Like I can hold this for the whole night. Pee the bed. You get stinging nettles.
Yeah.
And the stinging nettles, she don't whoop you with it.
Right.
Oh, she just puts you on your backside. And that's,
yes.
It was love my grandmother to death. Love her to death. But she put me into something. And then
taught you some lessons.
Yeah, it was and even after then, you just like want to challenge her.
Of course you do.
I want to challenge her. I enjoy challenging her.
Never win though, do you?
No, but my grandmother was a little heavier. She wore these bracelets, these heavy.
So you could
bracelets.
outrun her.
Outrun her, and I talk around the corner.
Yeah.
Like you can't catch me until she says, "Come here."
Yeah.
And you have that slow walk.
Right, of course.
Knowing that the bracelets
are coming your way.
A ringer right across your skull. And don't you cry.
Right, of course.
Don't complain.
Is Bermuda a religious country? Like was church and things like that part of your life?
you have all different denominations. From Baptists, you have it's really.
Is it mainly Christian?
Christian.
Yes. All of it's Christian. Yeah,
it's all of it's Christian, but it's really denominations. It's unbelievable.
Sure.
And that is the very unique part. You got to look is that we're only 24 square miles.
Yeah.
The amount of churches we have in Bermuda.
Yeah, I bet.
And the amount of trouble I continue to get in.
Right.
It did not make sense. There were times. Now, don't be upset with me, but I got to give you the real.
Yeah, go ahead.
My grandmother decided that she would send us to the church that's about 3 miles away and walk. And on that journey, there was like candy stores.
Right.
There was pear trees.
Yeah.
And give us some change for collection.
Right.
Now I'm realizing that there's a test.
That's a challenge.
It was a challenge, and it did not make sense to me.
Right.
What made sense is that the amount of candy that I can buy for 5 cents on the way, and if I come back and all I had to say, I put that change into I donated.
Right.
But the change went from she'd give me $1 and change.
Yeah.
I'll give 50 cents and spend 50.
Right.
Then it was like, okay, one of you guys come with me to church.
Right.
Then I give the donation will be 25 cents and share 75 with us.
Right.
So I had this whole business idea to get people to come. It did not work out well because I mean it was awesome though, and that's Bermuda. The culture is amazing.
Yeah,
and I loved it.
The food's unbelievable too, isn't it?
Oh yes. Oh
yeah.
yes.
And
yeah.
I hear you're an amazing cook.
Now calm and breathe. I want you to breathe right now.
I hear you can cook.
I will let Matt. I'm
Is
gonna
it
let
true
you know
or not?
something. First of all, we're talking about cooking.
Yeah.
We had a meeting. We had a meeting, and interesting, right? When you have a meeting with somebody and you're thinking we go over the show and let's meet somewhere like an office.
Right.
This young man, of course, somebody said, "Oh, let's meet at this pancake place." Not only that, I did not realize of somebody as his stature can eat so much.
I didn't eat that much.
And not only as much that he ate, and then he ate fast,
fibber.
like he had somewhere to go. Oh no, you
Nick,
child.
Listen, we're currently fat guys.
Yeah, we're
dude.
fat guys.
Yeah, but you and I didn't get a word in. I was trying
You
to have
didn't
this
get a word
conversation.
in.
I was trying to have a
Do
conversation.
you believe
with you.
this? Do you believe this?
And not only that, I've never seen this before. I've never seen back in the day where you lick the fork,
Yeah.
the knife,
Yeah. Well,
the plate. And then he's looking at me,
Listen.
and I'm taking my time through this process.
This is
Yeah.
called a Bermuda bust up. He is making all this up. He is
Bermuda
full of
bust
it.
up.
The Bermuda bust up. That's
Because
what
we
I'm
are-
getting in my head.
Because we're on food,
Yeah.
and I enjoy food. I enjoy cooking
Yeah.
food. Right
Not
after
as much
my
as me
father,
and Mick, though,
but
apparently.
I did not realize the depth that you go to.
Oh, I tear it
So,
up, bro.
but
You don't
food-
get this
food-
figure being shy. I can tell you that.
Now it was awesome. No, it was great food.
But you can cook.
Love cooking. Yeah, love cooking. My father.
That's what I heard. Your
Yes.
dad, that's what I wanted to get to, David, because your dad, this is a fascinating story. Please tell basically the version of the story about your dad cooking and how that led to everything for you guys.
Yeah, my father, unbelievable, made some awesome sacrifices back in the day. Basic high school education back when he was going through and didn't even finish school.
Right.
As I'm learning all this now,
Sure,
right?
sure.
So he had to make a decision on living and
Mhm.
also supporting. So he ended up getting into culinary. And what I've realized is that he made sacrifices knowing and forecast what the outcome. He knew that he needed to secure a job. He knew that he needed to, he had to be accountable
Sure.
and responsible for his kids.
Right.
As the years like 13, 14, my father would go away, Germany, didn't know, always came back, collected us, took us in a cab, went down to eat at one day in the islands, went back again. What I did not realize is that, wow, he was becoming this renowned chef in the
Wow.
country,
Isn't that
also
wild?
for Bermuda tourism. Still cooking today.
Wow. How old's your
84
dad?
years young.
84.
And he can cook some meals. So what I've done is that during COVID, I never really enjoyed and had a passion for cooking.
Yeah.
I just knew my father had the best Herbie
Right.
Bascome fish chowder, the best fish cakes in the country.
Wow.
And this was, and I mean, the butter sculptures, the things that I appreciate it more now.
Of course.
And he always said to me, love in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Love in the kitchen. He never kicked a ball around in his life.
Never touched the ball.
Never touched it. He told me he had some ability. Haven't seen it yet. But let me tell you.
Yeah, when you can make the food he can make, your football ability doesn't matter.
Well, you know what? Also, when you could just go down and get the fresh fish and seafood like you probably could, that makes a huge difference too, doesn't it?
And we helped him. He done a lot of catering. And we knew when he done a catering, we're helping him with things. Didn't get the joy that he got until older.
Yeah.
Until I realized when I started getting into professional understanding, being responsible for my own eating.
Right.
Next means, COVID comes. And me and my father talk all the time. And I said, no, I got to cook more. But I want to get time to get the recipes.
Right. Yeah.
And is looking at me and what some proud moments during COVID, learning the fish charters, and I continue to learn. It's gotten to the point where I'm done Instagram, social media, putting up posts. I cook for my players.
Wow.
But I appreciate 6 hours in the kitchen.
That's
Cooking's
crazy.
a whole different beast. You have to spend time because you are feeding someone else, not just yourself.
Sure.
And I realized that into coaching, it became a culture that I put apart with professional coaching.
Now, when you decided that your playing career, was over and you wanted to stay in the game, was the assistant job with Danny your first professional coaching gig?
Yeah, let me tell you how that happened.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to tell you because that's a story.
Yeah.
So I was still playing assistant coach at the time. One of the coaches, one of the big names here, he ended up, getting suspended. So Danny had taken over. Me and Danny had known each other since 91.
Yeah.
In Harrisburg.
Was that Timmy Whitman?
Timmy Whitman.
Yeah.
Yep. So the next minute, Danny became the player head coach to finish out the season. The season was a big season for me. It was a memorable one. One of the coaches, Paul Kitson.
Yeah.
You probably remember him.
Paul Kitson. I'll tell you a quick story about Paul Kitson. Originally played, I think, for San Diego.
Yep.
And I was a kid, like 13, 14. Game 7, they used to play the 7 series when we beat San Diego and won the championship. Paul Kitson was walking off the field, and he had Puma VIPs, brand new, in his hand. And I said, can I have your shoes? And he just handed them to me. They were worn one game, size 9, perfect for me. And he gave me he would just handed them to me like it was nothing. So you'd think you'd go home, you'd put it in a box, you'd save that. I wore them every day until the soles wore out of those shoes.
I've heard you tell that story before, and I was thinking about it. It's like, those shoes fit you?
They were size 9. And
no
at 14,
kidding.
I stopped growing at 14.
Wow.
I was this tall at 14,
right,
and this tall at 15, and I'm this tall at 56. David, we've talked, and I'll let you talk what you want about, but you've overcome some real adversity as well to get where you are in your story. I want to be careful how I question things because we've talked personally. There were people in your life that tried to lead you down a bad path or not necessarily have your best interests at heart, and you managed to overcome those kind of obstacles. Do you want to share some of that?
Yeah, it's because it's a part of your growing, right? It's
Yeah.
a part of how I got here.
Yeah.
One of the things is that when my father was going through his sacrifices, we was actually in a holding. It was like an orphanage. The Sunshine League. A place where it was awesome because my siblings is where we grew.
Yeah.
And
you were all in there, right?
All in there. Yes.
Yeah.
And 4 years old. Now here's the interesting. It was 4 of us in there. My mom and my father separated.
Yeah.
She took my older brother and my 2 youngest siblings. And so the 4 of us are in there. And it was very interesting because I did not know I had siblings at the time. I'm 4 years old. I'm walking. I remember clear as day going to the Sunshine League with joy. It was amazing. 30 other young people was there. And I always remembered, and this is why I love my father to death, because there are sacrifices knowing his coming back.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, coming back. And it took me a while to understand it, but I wasn't missing things that people was expecting me to miss when I got older.
Yeah.
So once we went through there, my father got everything stable, ended up living with my grandmother. Once I lived with my grandmother, we all ended up together. Once at 9, 10, 11. the interest with the story becomes a very interesting story. One of the coaches in Bermuda, renowned coach, big top player in Bermuda, ended up being coach. He ended up being a personal trainer for me and my brother.
Right.
And everybody's probably heard this story if they Googled me, the search. Well, it was interesting because I always wanted to be great. Right. I always wanted to be the best player.
Sure.
I drove for it. I woke up every day. And the trickle down is that there was an abuse mindset with the coach at the time.
Yeah.
And it was, I went through a whole sexual abuse.
Yeah.
For 7 years. And it was
You're a child when this happens.
Child, yeah. And it was this space, and it went so long, very, very tough. I had to self counsel.
Yeah.
I suffered from anxiety through the process as I'm realizing older. But what it gave me and what I understood, I had to build a superhero.
Yeah.
To take care of this madness.
You had to grow your own cape.
Yeah. And that's it. And knowing that if you speak out, it could be the end.
Could you even talk to your brothers about it or anybody?
No, at the time, I did not know my brother had went through it, right?
Right.
So we did not know. So you're hiding.
Oh.
So when you're going through these trials and these tribulations and you don't understand that it's not your fault. So I had to understand. I went through a period of anxiety, like I was going through this process of why am I breathing?
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it was from. Like the escape, unbelievable, the escape.
Yeah, I can imagine.
The game was awesome. The trust became minimal, but the beautiful game of soccer.
Yeah.
The beautiful game, I always went back to the game.
Is that the thing that got you through it?
Oh, was it ever?
Excuse me one second, Dave. Matt, I want to bring you in on this as well, because that's such a powerful statement. And whether it's soccer, whether it's music, whether it's acting, whether it's juggling, whether it's reading, whether it's anything, I'm always amazed how people have survived or dealt with trauma or abuse. And David, I got to tell you, I mean, your story it's amazing, but it's also horrible. And you know what I mean by that. But the fact that when you're talking, you're smiling when you talk about how the game got you through, that to me is just I always say that good and righteousness will fix any wrong and evil.
Well, it comes down to your mindset too, I think, David. So you could have taken that in one of two directions, and you channeled that into something positive for you and made yourself the person you are now.
Yeah, Matt, you're right. And here's what I must be mindful when I do speak on this is that young people, we're not going to be I was fortunate.
Yeah.
And I was lucky.
Yeah, I get it.
That is not the natural norm to survive this.
Sure.
It's not the natural norm to come out to empower others.
Right.
So for my young people and even my older,
there's plenty
who's going through this process.
Yes.
They must find and they must be able to reach out. But here's the mindfulness is that our conscious and awareness, because sometimes we don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes we may not see it. And there's been times where I wanted to say something, but you know what? The energy, I can handle this.
Yeah.
I can deal with this.
I know exactly what
being looked at and treated differently. I'm a young black boy at the time.
Right. Yeah.
And this was amazing because I'm like, always wanted to be on the field. Yeah. But he was always training me to be better.
Right. And at the same time, abusing me.
And this is why there's many, and I know people will probably go search and YouTube and they'll see it come out. But the healing is probably one of the greatest journeys. And that's why I like the animal, the lion.
Yeah.
Because it's not so much the kill, it's the hunt.
It's the hunt.
And in this journey of hunt, is everything I do becomes of purpose. And that's why it's very important that when I have these conversations about it, that's why I call it Red Card, my book and everything.
Sure.
And it's called it for a reason, because we must understand if you're having a bad day at work, at the job, in the game, don't feel displaced because you may have lack of something.
David, was there ever any closure for you between you and this person, or was there justice that was eventually served?
That is a good question, because I would 7 years ago, the story came out. Though I was talking about it, my brother did a news conference, and I was there supporting him on something totally different. And he just broke down. It was a live news conference. He was there for something else.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And once the name came out, then the young man walked to the police station. And as far as closure, no, because when he was got arrested, he walked in. I wanted to my depth of mindset of moving other people. There has to be a reason.
Yeah.
And by time getting to connect with him, it became was that next minute I know it was about after case was even before the case started, 3 months before the case started, he committed suicide in prison. Wow. So that's the one thing I never got to ask that question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because everything comes from somewhere.
Yeah.
I was born that way.
Yeah.
And that was the depth of where I was. Right. So the closure for me is that I had to go through a couple of things of understanding what forgiveness for me to move on. Yeah. I had to have some personal and forgiveness to myself, knowing that it's not my fault. Yeah. Forgiveness for the person on the other side. So I realized I didn't need to know what they were going through, but I had to understand for me to move.
Yeah.
Because I was going through fear.
Yeah, I mean, David, it's a thing to me, like when I hear somebody talk about it, especially someone that's achieved what you've achieved. Adversity, I've always believed this. Adversity can be a great motivator, but it can also be a killer. Sure. I mean, it can kill you and destroy you. Do you feel, is it all behind you?
You know, as far as, make sure I want to be clear.
Yeah, no, of course.
Nothing when you're growing is behind you.
True.
No matter how bad, how good, it will always, my successes, the downfalls will always be in front for memory.
Right.
Because that's how much I've healed. That's how much I've moved. Wow. When I'm in the position that I'm in, the conversation must continue to come up. Because when you're dealing with young men in the professional environment, they are going through these trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
And you must be able to share, to grasp trust, to get them to play for you.
David, I want to move on with the conversation, but I just wanted to tell you in this moment, getting to know you over all these years, you're an amazing leader and you are an incredible motivator. And you are a very, very, I would say, wonderful example of what hard work, dedication, commitment, all the things we hear. You're like an amazing example of people that do that and receive success. So I just wanted you to know that. I find you to be an incredibly, not only talented, but gifted man just to speak with. I really enjoy just speaking with you as a man.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I really do. Let's get into the fun part of the game. So indoor soccer, the Baltimore Blast, I don't even remember. I think what was the first year was 80,
81,
80, 81. So we're looking at, what is that? 40 some years, right?
Yeah.
Did I do that math right? How's the team looking? I know we had a tough finish to the season last year, but are you confident moving forward with the new team?
Oh, it's a joy.
Yeah.
When I took the team over, there was an understanding that what Danny and myself had went through, the 9 championships. 9 championships.
You won 9?
I was a part of 8 of them.
Wow.
Danny incredible. Was a part before I got here. Won 3 as a player and as assistant coach 5. And then what I done is that we worked so close together.
Yeah.
It made sense, realizing that time changes.
Yeah.
And you can't keep that up forever. Once the shift came and I became the head coach, there had to be a cultural shift.
Sure.
There had to be a slow reform, not a rebuild, because we love winning.
Right.
And it had to be an understanding. So the favorite players, as they was aging out, you had to respect them, but you had to build something that made sense.
Yeah.
The learning curve change.
Sure.
No more telling them what to do in that punitive process of old school coaching.
Yeah.
Go run to the right or the left.
Yeah.
They do it, and they had the talent. It was changing. It was changing that players are looking for more, and I had to move with it. And that's why I ended up taking on the responsibility after the fact that I kind of turned it down out of, can I do this my way?
Right.
So where we are now, 4 years in, 4 seasons. First season we did well, sustained because we had a lot of players that was left.
Yeah.
We knew that was going to be easy to sustain it. Then it became a shifting at the same time. I had to
lost
forecast.
a lot of great legends that were in Baltimore.
Yes.
That just retired out, like you said. And, you got to build a whole new dynasty, so to speak.
And you had to be comfortable in your skin to do it, especially in Baltimore.
Yeah.
This is a culture of winning.
Yeah.
You love winning. I love winning. But can you shift at the same time? The Baltimore fans, this beautiful city, they don't have time for rebuild.
Right.
That's not known. Other areas rebuild. You can throw it out all you want.
You get a year or two, and then you better get back on it.
You better sort it out.
Are you? I wanted to ask you this: do you think that the American game, or let me ask it a different way, as much as you're involved in the game and in the community, do you find American basic players, on average, are better than they were when you first arrived in the country? Younger players.
Yeah, it's crazy because at the time we had good players that had a passion for the game.
Yeah.
So what you're seeing is evolving around the knowledge of the game, and not just the players.
Yeah.
It's the understanding by also parents.
Yeah.
You're seeing a shift.
Yeah.
Now they get to bring accountability.
Yeah.
That's what you're seeing. So you have now a more educated fan. So you have to deliver.
I'm talking about players.
No, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's how players are.
Oh, you're
formed.
saying the fans. So
Yes.
you, as players, you have to be better.
You have
because the fans know more.
Well, the fans are also parents.
Yeah.
So as the parent gets educated,
Right.
the game shifts.
Yeah.
Now their kids shift,
Right.
because the expectation becomes more. There's great accountability. So now you're seeing the flicks and tricks. You're seeing these things now, and also the greatest thing is opportunity.
Yeah.
Look at the opportunity for young players. It's not just college. Now you got the professional environment. Before it was just an outdoor league, indoor.
Yeah.
Now you got the futsal. Now you got the MLS. You got so much going on, and the opportunity to play overseas.
David, I bet you give a really killer pep talk, man. Just hearing you speak how
Isn't it
passionate
great?
you are.
Yeah. Your passion leads you, my friend.
I bet that that inspires your players, I'm sure.
Well, they sometimes it gets a little rough, Matt. I want to let you know, but they know where it comes from.
Are you a hair dryer kind of? You know what I mean by that?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So Manchester United talk about Sir Alex Ferguson all the time, and he would give the hair dryer treatment where he would just scream in your face, and it would like literally be so loud and hot air. It would like dry your hair.
No,
do you ever have those moments where you go off?
Let's go through a process if you're one of my players. I want to let you know what I do.
Okay.
See, the key for you is that I'm seeing you as a striker, but you're not performing. My first question to you is, have you built your objectives and your goals? What are you doing for yourself to be better? Stop complaining, Mickey, of being a player. You want to be great, but you're not willing to let your sacrifices to be greater than your wants. So I'm going to ask you this question. Stop coming to my office, Mickey, and you need to understand who you are. What are you willing to do for the win? And it's not about the result, Mickey. It's about how much better you want to become. So stop wasting my time, because I don't have this type of time to deal with you. So, see, moving.
I'm not doing the show anymore. I'm not even qualified to do this show after David talks.
Moving into the depth of who you are.
Yeah.
I must learn your character. I must know where you come from. And that's been the shift of me as a coach. Fans and the game may not get a chance to see it because they see it from a different scope. But my players love them to death.
Who's the best example that, whether you ever played with, coached, whatever, that did it right? If you had to pick one player in the history of your league, the MSL or whatever it's called now, that indoor soccer, who do you think was the one guy that if you picked out of the history of that game, you'd say he did everything he was supposed to do?
It's very tough because it involves, I would say, my peers, Danny Kelly,
Danny was great.
Bob Lilly, Mark Pulisic. These players, we grew up in the same time where we love the game. And I don't want to say one person because it was many.
Fair enough, yeah.
As a player, from what I went through, you remember my walk was different.
Yeah.
I was so independent. My focus was to drive in myself.
Yeah.
As I saw a player in the league, I wanted to be better.
Right.
A player was a goal scorer. I want to be better than you. So I built this process, a process of elimination with development.
Yeah.
I took what Mickey had as a striker. I found out what you was good at. If I wasn't good at it, I circled it and I worked on it.
Wow.
So I drove off it until I got to the point where I became a franchise player.
Right.
And that was my joy. It was about what's next?
Yeah.
What else can I do?
What was your best year, you think?
My best year was around, I had a few, was around at 96, 97, 98.
Okay.
Playing in Harrisburg, when my process became, it was a proof of the concept.
Sure.
Denver, I ended up in Denver for a short stint, won 3 games, lost 37.
not the best year.
I say that with joy. Bless his soul, Paul Kitson. You was my coach.
Right.
But it was an experience that told me I cannot concentrate on the results. I have to be better. I have to grow myself. If not, I'm going to be stuck in a negative mindset and blaming this team of why I'm not great.
I could listen to him talk all day.
I feel the same
way. He just make me want to do things. And I'm a lazy son of a bitch. So
David,
that's amazing.
David, I bet winning a championship is a really good time to ask for a raise.
Not with it.
You just had the young man on. And here's the thing. When we start to talk about with me being young and watching like the menus, money was never the driving factor.
That's good, though,
it was being an entertainer. You just wanted to make sure is at the end of the day when I was playing is that you was getting your worth.
You know what's funny, Dave? You keep saying the word entertainer, and I want to go back to something that I've said about American soccer for a long time. There's no characters. There's no personalities. There were over time. You had a couple guys, but when you look at other countries, I mean, you take Ireland, you have Roy Keane, who was like a legend, and he was such a character. He'd say anything. England, you had hundreds of them. You know, you had Gaza, you had, I mean, I could go down the list of just guys that Vinnie Jones. These guys made the headlines just for the guys they were. And it always amazes me when I meet a professional athlete that does talk about the entertainment side of thing. And I think American sports have always sort of looked down on the entertainment side of it. Be a good ball player, keep your head down, get a hit, score a goal, you keep your head down, you run back, and it's like, nah, you know, part of the joy of the game is expressing yourself. And I think, I think you would agree, that if a player is truly expressing himself and his personality through the game, he's going to play better. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, and and here's what we're getting now in 21st century in all sports.
Sure.
When you have talent,
you away.
Cannot be great on your own.
Right.
You must understand that.
Yeah.
That will never change.
Yeah.
But sometimes when we have talent and we know we're entertainers and their personality trait has got about I'm the influential and they go beneath that line of respect and understanding, they get themselves in trouble.
They can go too far.
They can go too far.
Sure.
But as a coach, think about it. You're going to have to harness this ability.
Right.
You're going to have to understand the ability. Then you're going to have to move and curve them. Think about 11 players on a team. They all can't have the same personality.
I think my favorite story about what David's talking about is, Matt, there's a very I know David knows him, a very famous player named Eric Cantona, who was a French superstar. And he came to Manchester United when they were not doing great. And he turned that whole club around. But he very famously was a maniac. And one game, the fan got on his nerves and he got red carded and he ran full speed at the fan in the crowd and drop kicked him.
Wow.
When the guy stood up, he hit him 2 more times.
So he's like the Conor McGregor of
So the So the
Okay.
funniest part of the story is one of his teammates is telling the story years later. And he's like, we were playing like shit and we knew halftime, the boss is screaming at us. That's awful. You're playing like shit. You're Man United. You don't do this. You better do this. And you guys do this. He said, so second half, we go out. Eric hadn't gotten, kicked out yet. And he said, we got to be disciplined. And he's kicked out in 10 minutes in the second half. And the other player, he's telling the story. He goes, oh, man, this is great because coach is going to scream at Eric after he did this. He's not going to yell at us at all. Like, there's no way. Now, you got to remember, though, Eric Cantona was probably the best player in England at the time.
Yeah.
And so they get to after the game, they lose, and they're all walking back in, and they're like, oh, Eric's going to get it. So Coach comes in and he starts screaming at everybody. Keno, you're shit. Skulls, what a terrible pass. Giggsy, that was the worst run I've ever seen. You're crap, every one of you. I can't take another day of this. And Eric's sitting there and they're all going, why is he yelling? Eric kicked the guy and punched him. He's screaming and he looks at the end. He gets done and he looks at Eric Cantona and he goes, Eric, you can't be doing that, son. Real calmly. You
got to manage it, right?
Yeah, because he said Cantona was the kind of guy that could win the Champions League for you. But he was also the guy you had to treat a little different. He wasn't like everybody else.
That is the part of coaching.
Do you like that part?
I love it.
You love knowing each player individually.
You have to. I can tell you everything about both of you here. I met you for the first time. I can tell you everything about them.
Yeah.
And that's the joy of coaching, because you got to put together the players that can not only fit your methodology and system, they also have to be able to kind of move the game for you. They have to bring the integrity of the fans.
It makes sense.
And he is the coach of coaches.
It's incredible.
You should be the coach of coaches.
Yeah, he's an interesting man, David Bascome. David, let's move on. A little thing we do on the show called Matt's Music Minute.
Can I ask my weird Bermuda question before we get into
1,000%.
Now, this is a weird question, but it's a sincere. I'm curious. I'm very curious. Like, when you were growing up in Bermuda, what was the whole legend of the Bermuda Triangle to you guys, like as kids and even the adults, I guess? It
was, we always chuckled. We thought it was like, because we didn't understand it. We didn't even know.
Did you guys ever have a boat that just left and never came back?
Nobody's telling us. Nobody's saying nothing. What I was upset at, I should have started some T-shirts back then.
Yeah.
I started selling some Bermuda Triangle T-shirts.
Yeah, man.
And started having these stories, and like you hear about this with the current meats and everything. Yeah. So I don't really, only when I came to America, it became this whole all the information.
I was afraid of that when I was a kid.
I was petrified of it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you. The first time I flew to the Bahamas, you go into the Bermuda Triangle. So the pilot literally goes, ladies and gentlemen, we're now entering the very famous Bermuda Triangle. All the equipment's working. Looks like we're going to be safe.
Why are you telling me this?
Yeah, and I literally was like, for the next 25 minutes, I'm like, I can't deal with this. Now, Bermuda, if I'm not mistaken, then we're going to move on to the Music Minute, is much higher. It's in the Atlantic, right?
We are 700 miles away from like North Carolina.
Yeah, it's
right there by ourselves. So we're not in the Caribbean.
Right. I always forget that Bermuda is do you have a winter in Bermuda?
Oh, yeah, they have a winter.
It gets cold.
Cold for when I was living in Bermuda. I love the cold.
Yeah, what is the cold in Bermuda, though? 50s?
No, it's high 50s, 55. That's it. It's panic time.
What a brutal way to grow up, David.
But it does get damp in Bermuda.
Yeah.
So you're not jumping into water, and even the tourists go. Late nights it gets really damp because you're surrounded around the water. But I'm gonna let you know, like I go down, I get excited, and all my friends got jackets on and leather jackets. It's 55, and I'm enjoying the weather. Got a T-shirt on. I just came from snow.
It's beautiful.
I'm getting from snow, and they're like, "Hey, you need help." But then when you get on a moped and you're riding in this damp, no, that's it.
And that island wind starts whipping around.
The island wind starts whipping around,
Are you known nationally? Like, if you walk into a school, do people be like, wow, that's David Bascome? Like, do kids know who you are and stuff?
In Bermuda, it's crazy. There was a couple of little things that's been going on. Like, I have a mural me and my cousin go to play for Man City. Yeah. And they was, I love my country. They don't, so they disregard that we all have agents and stuff, right?
Right, of course.
Next thing you know, I'm in a grocery store, and the guy says, "Hey, Bascome, this mirror." I'm like, "A mirror?" I'm thinking a mirror, like a bloody mirror. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
So, but I didn't know there's a painting going on outside of a building
with you,
and I'm still trying to get some food out of the place, right? So me, my cousin, so a lot of the legends and so it was kind of cool. So it was like really, and I don't realize it sometimes until I get on my little rental. Yeah. And I go to the gas station and I'm there for 2 hours talking. Really? I love people. I love having conversations.
Are the Bermudian people, are they respectful of you and your time and things like that?
Yeah, they are. And it's real because I do set my time as when I go for social time.
Sure.
I look out for my country, my Bermudians.
Yeah.
I love having conversations because I don't see much, right? Because I'm here, or I'm traveling. So when I go there, I embrace the moment, I enjoy the moment, but also I set my time. Very mindful.
Yeah, of
and
course.
here's the thing, is that and somebody will shout at it, Bascome.
Yeah.
And I'm walking and I turn around and I wave, And then it's kind of like if I'm not as enthused because
Yeah.
I may not know him,
Right.
but I should know him.
Right.
And then my uncles and cousins were like, you know who this is. So I get closer to the person
Yeah.
and I have to play like I know.
Oh, it's Oprah.
Right. So I'm like, hey, you know, how you doing? So I do this, man. I do this like, hey, how you doing? So one of my crazy cousins were like, Bascome don't know you. You realize that. And not realizing this person's probably in my same class.
You got to
Wow.
do that. Hey, man.
Yeah,
I
what's
do.
up,
I
dude?
try it,
Right?
but it's not working anymore.
Yeah.
So I respectfully make sure, like, I put people's names in my phone. I'm like, put pictures and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
a little easier now. So.
How's
That's awesome.
things, guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up?
Uh,
All right, let's move on. David, when does the blast? January, right? The next season starts January.
Yeah, I think I know Ed had mentioned about starting off a home game in January.
Yeah.
At some point. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we probably start free.
And then the
pre-season
camps
December.
at BaltimoreBlast.com. People can find out about
Yes.
the camps,
Yes.
correct?
No, camps are huge. Yeah.
All right, let's get into Matt's Music Minute. We will have official read tomorrow, but it's Natalie's Seafood Kitchen. I'll give them an extra day, Matt. Is that fair?
of course.
Since they came on.
Of course.
David, feel free. We just talk about weird things in music right now. Go ahead, buddy.
All right, so we're going to start off with a sad story, unfortunately, today. Yesterday, we got the news about Three Doors Down singer who has kidney cancer.
Yeah, that's
he
terrible.
just announced it. Brad Arnold just announced that he has kidney cancer and posted a video on the band's page earlier, said he'd been sick for a couple of weeks, went to the hospital, got checked out, and got the diagnosis of clear cell renal carcinoma that had metastasized into his lung, and it's stage 4, unfortunately, is what he's saying. So we wish him the best in his fight. According to the National Cancer Institute, clear cell renal cell carcinoma patients whose cancer is spread to other parts of the body have a 5-year survival rate of about 10%.
Jesus.
He's 46, and the rest of the band, unfortunately, had to cancel their opening dates for Creed this summer.
I just feel so bad when you hear a story
Yeah.
like that. I mean, Three Doors Down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, God's love to them. I don't even know how you talk about it.
Of course. Yeah.
Sad news.
So in good news, though, Sony has hired some writers for the Beatles biopics. There are 4 films, each focusing on a different member of the band, set to be released sometime in 2028. One of the writers is Peter Straughan, who won an Oscar earlier this year for his work on Conclave. Also attached are Ford versus Ferrari writer Jez Butterworth and Jack Thorne, a Tony Award winner. And it's unclear whether if each will pen their own film or if they're going to collaborate on all these. But the 4 films will be directed by Sam Meads and will star Paul Mescal as Paul McCartney,
Wow.
Barry Keoghan as Ringo Starr, Joseph Quinn as George Harrison, and Harris Dickinson as John Lennon.
That's pretty
Yeah,
awesome. David, were you a big music fan growing up? Was music a big thing to you?
Marley, reggae.
It was all reggae in
all
Bermuda,
reggae.
right?
Yeah.
I'm a huge Marley fan.
Me too.
Yeah. But Bermuda it's all reggae. That's the music.
Now you get reggae, you have hip hop, you get everything now.
Really?
Everything now. But back in the day, reggae was more.
That was the
conscious
pop
music,
music
yeah.
for you guys. Yeah, that's interesting.
Did you have a chance to see Bob Marley back in the day?
No, you
No?
know, one of the biggest things. I wish I did.
Yeah.
Well, what year was he killed?
Was it 1980?
Yeah, I mean, we would have never seen them.
Well,
I don't
I've seen the
think.
Wailers before.
Yeah,
but
I've seen the Whale. I've
never
seen Ziggy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I never saw Bob.
Yep.
Go ahead, buddy.
So the Who has announced they are saying goodbye again.
It's the final farewell
Yes.
tour. We're never coming back
It's never
unless Roger keeps living.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
song is over. The North American farewell tour has been announced. They famously said goodbye in '82, but it didn't stick, apparently. They made the announcement in London at the Iconic Images Gallery, which you can watch live on their YouTube channel, Live Nation's YouTube channel. Pete Townsend was in the gallery, and Roger Daltrey joined via video. It looks like they're going to do 16 shows starting August 16th in Sunrise, Florida, and wrap it up in Vegas. 3 closest to us.
Yeah,
In
let me
Maryland,
guess.
for our
Philly,
Maryland listeners.
DC, and
Close. It is Philly. It's Newark, New Jersey, and you can go see them in Atlantic City too on Boardwalk Hall.
oh, cool.
Yeah.
Were you a rock fan as a kid? Did any rock music get your way, David?
Nah, you know.
Never really did it.
Nah, just reggae, some hardcore reggae.
Yeah.
Sunsplash. We call this place one place called the Boiler Room.
Now, does Bermuda have Rasta lifestyle
Yes,
down there?
yeah.
It does. It does have the Rasta lifestyle.
Yes, they
Yeah,
do, yeah.
interesting. Cool.
Any other cool reggae artists that we would know that you dug growing up?
I don't know. Growing up, you know, you got the Dennis Dennis Brown. You got some old.
Was Yellow Man big back?
Yellow Man was huge.
Dude, I saw Yellow Man. That was one of the coolest things I ever saw.
Yellow Man fed it. So Yellow Man was huge. He was a big with Sunsplash. So you had a lot of dance hall music back then.
Yeah.
A lot of clashes, we call them.
Yeah.
Stone Love. You have everybody had their own clash. And so that was the big thing. Yeah.
That's pretty wild, man. That's pretty wild.
For sure. That's Matt's Music Minute.
All right, thank you. Let's get right into That's the Facts, Matt, brought to us by Barnes Paving. That's BARNES paving.com. Give them a call, 443-243-3710. Get 10% off if you mention Mickey Talks. Barnes Paving can meet all your paving and asphalt needs. They are MHIC insured and licensed and accredited with the Better Business Bureau. Make sure you check out Barnes Paving. All right, Matt, what do we got?
That's the Facts, Matt. And we have a new pope. White smoke. We have a pope.
We have a pope.
The Cardinals have chosen their first American pontiff.
That's huge. An American pope.
Of course, this guy really was naturalized in Peru, I think. So a lot of the Peruvian people are saying, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This guy's really from Peru. But Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost is from Chicago. That's where he was born anyway. He's been announced as the 267th Pope and has taken the name Pope Leo XIV. 69 years old, spent much of his career as a missionary in South America and served as bishop in Peru. And most recently, he led the Vatican office for bishop appointments.
Yeah, I got to give David a compliment. Where is it? Give me 1 second, David. Brad Crosley.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, it says, Coach, he's doing great. Hey, from Portugal.
Oh, he's not on a cruise. He's
doing
something over there. He's always on cruises.
But it's cool somebody's listening to us in Portugal right now.
It is cool.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, I don't know if you know about Google, but Google searches made in Apple Safari browser is down for the first time in more than 2 decades. And they're saying it's due to people using ChatGPT. They're using AI for all their searches now. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but do you realize how much energy ChatGPT uses?
I have no idea how much any of that crap does.
If you want to break this down for you, ChatGPT uses so much energy that the U.S. reversing course on coal and gas usage to make up for it. For example, data centers in Santa Clara use 60% of the entire city's electricity. And
the computers.
Yeah, the data centers where the computers are. ChatGPT uses 1 to 3 bottles of water for cooling every query you put into it. This means fresh water, which is evaporated and eventually mostly returns to the ocean, effectively removing a lot of it from our already dwindling fresh water on the planet. It also consumes more than 17,000 times more electricity than the average home. And
17,000.
So our water usage is projected to hit 6.6 billion meters cubed by 2027. That's over 1 trillion gallons is what that is. So it's an enormous amount of energy. So after reading that story, I saw this story about what Google is trying to do now. Google Drive, Google Sheets, and now Google Nuclear apparently is going to happen. They announced yesterday that it's teaming up with Elemental Power, a nuclear company, to build 3 new nuclear power plants in the U.S. So that's going to
now power plants are back. This is awesome. Yeah, nuclear power plants are back in the discussion.
It's clean energy.
I'm all for them, by the way. I think every city should have them.
Yeah, those nuclear subs.
Yeah.
They use uranium in it, I believe it is.
Right.
They put in a certain amount, and it lasts for 30 years.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Huge subs. I mean, these subs are massive.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope we get this show nuclear powered one day. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, here's some nuclear stuff going on with podcasts, by the way, Mick.
Yeah.
The Golden Globes will introduce a new award for Best Podcast of the Year at the 83rd ceremony that's set for January 11th, 2026.
All right, Matt, that's a new benchmark for our show we got to reach.
Well, we're up against Smartless, shows like Smartless, Call Her Daddy, and the Joe Rogan Experience.
We're better than all 3 of them combined.
Yes.
Our 17,000 followers on my page prove it.
Yes, of course.
He's got 117 million.
Right.
I have 17,000. David, let me ask you this. Have you ever, you and I grew up as technology exploded in front of both of our faces. When you watch your children, with phones and tablets, and they just zip through it. And you're like me in the beginning, you're pushing the wrong button. Does it blow you away the different worlds that your kids grew up in? I don't even mean countries, just the environment that we grew up in. It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is fascinating. I'm going to let you know. I stay right on top of it.
I try,
I'm doing like go and Google some classes to stay on top of even the Chat GPT. And the cool thing with my kids, I tell them, listen, I want you to start thinking about jobs that's going to be here. My youngest one's 6.
Yeah.
Start thinking about jobs when you're 18, what it's going to look like, right? So, but they're always coming back with something new. And just when I caught up with like a WhatsApp or something, even my father's tuned in.
Right.
84 is sending me stuff, and like I had no idea. It updates his phone all the time. And but it's in this world, and you got the meta world, this whole stuff.
It's crazy,
moving fast. And I think even the tech people that are in the industry are having problems keeping up with the technology and knowing their stuff. I
saw an interview with a woman. I forget her name. She was like one of the Silicon Valley originals, 12 or whatever they call it. She was a programmer from way back. And she said, when the internet really started booming, late 90s, 2000s, she said, we were firing stuff out. We'd do 2-3 updates a year. She goes, now they're doing 2 and 3 updates a week.
Yeah,
that's how fast technology is flying. Yeah, it's crazy.
A couple more stories for you guys here. So there was an American tourist who impaled himself on a spiked fence at Rome's Colosseum. Another quest for the perfect social media photo has caused serious injury to an American tourist in Rome. The unidentified 47-year-old man was reportedly trying to climb the metal spiked fence outside the Colosseum to get a picture when he became impaled on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I give you your moron?
There's always one guy that
what an idiot.
The rules don't apply to. We all know somebody like that.
I'll tell you, I went through like 2 weeks of these videos that people shoot with the beef eaters, the British guards outside Buckingham Palace. You can't like get too close to them.
They'll punch you. Won't they?
They'll hit you. They'll move their gun at you. But the horses, the guys on the horses don't give a rat's ass. They'll stop for little children.
Yeah.
But if you're an adult and they're saying make way and you're just standing there on your phone, boom.
Well, not just that. It's the people that doing selfies and they're grabbing the reins of the horse. And it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, they're idiots. I love every time a horse knocks one of them idiots right in the street.
Right.
I love it.
This guy, he dangled from the spikes for upwards of 20 minutes.
Oh, my God.
Surgery was required, which resulted in 80 stitches. All the while, authorities are now considering further penalties for tampering with a historic landmark.
Dave, what's your worst injury you ever had?
ACL.
ACL?
Yeah, ACL.
How long were you out? A year?
A year. About 9 months. But here's the thing. My second one the first one I stayed up for, watched the whole surgery.
No way.
I had a spinal block, watched the whole surgery.
What do you mean you watched the whole surgery?
Watched the whole surgery.
Like you were awake for it?
Awake for it.
Wow. He got a spinal block.
Wow.
Rex Herbert, yep. And watched it. I want to watch it. I want to see.
Sure.
Why? Because I want to learn.
Yeah, of course.
If somebody else gets it.
Was it freaky to watch them do that to you?
It was crazy because they had me watch the monitor and I had the blue drape over me and I'm trying to look over the drape.
Right.
But it was freaky, man. It's like, do you feel this? He had my leg up in the air.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't feel a bloody thing. And then watching the drill go through the whole process, the blood, like it was cool.
Well,
you've got a strong stomach, David.
Well, listen, it's not the same pain, but I had to get whatever it's called where they put the camera through the front, through the dick, like through my penis.
Right.
They put a camera.
What? Yeah, that's not that's not.
So anyway, Matt. So the funniest part of the story is this dude comes in. He's the nurse, right? Young black guy, right? He
never done it before?
Me or him? Yeah. Right. So he comes in and he says, how you doing, man? And I said, I'm good. How are you? He said, good. I'm going to be your nurse. This is what's going to happen. I got to grab it. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to put a clamp on it. That's going to keep it up. That's going to keep your penis straight up so we can put the camera through it. I'm going to shoot some numbing agents on it. And you let me know when you can't feel it. So I'm like, all right, man. And he goes, all right, here we go. I guess we're dating. That's what he said. And it made me laugh. And he just, it's medicine. He reached down, he put the clamp on. There was nothing. He put the medicine on. And then, like you, they had a monitor. And it was all local. So I didn't feel, I was a little uncomfortable once it was in and it bumps a couple things on the way. But you're watching it and it was, like you said, David,
My God.
I know it. That's what I thought at first, but
You know,
honestly, when you're in it, it was kind of neat.
Well, I'm the guy that they come in, and I'm about to go into the operating room.
Yeah.
And they put the thing in your hand, the needle.
Yeah.
What do you call it? The IV.
The IV.
My IV, and then they immediately get the smelling salts because I'm on the floor with flop sweats.
Oh, you can't do needles or anything?
I can't do any of that, man.
You baby.
I know. I try.
How about this? We get a nurse to come in and draw blood from us on the
right now, dude.
You can't even get blood drawn?
I tried to give blood. My dad gives tons of blood. Like, he got like the diamond pin from the American Red Cross because he gave so much blood. And I tried to do it. And I mean, just even going to the doctor for the smallest prick of on my finger. And I see that. I don't know what it is, man. There's a word for it. There's a word for the condition.
Pussy. That's the word for it.
Sure.
You're a giant pussy. That's what it is.
I'm sure he knew that was coming. Matt knew that was coming. He lined himself up for that. I mean, he was lining himself up.
I was just giving I wanted to get the punchline.
Thank you, Matt. You're such a good partner. You giant pussy. David,
I got a couple more quick stories
for
you guys.
Next, the girl had to take a barrette out of her hair. Matt's going to faint.
Hey, I'm not proud of it, man. I'm not proud of it. Okay?
Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
So there was an entire Turkish town that got high after police burned 20 tons of confiscated weed. It was police.
20 tons?
Tons with a T, yes. Police in a small Turkish town with 25,000 people named Lice burned over 20 tons of seized cannabis in the town center. In the process of disposing of it, they wound up sort of distributing it to the community themselves. The huge fire sent thick weed smoke across the area, making residents feel dizzy, nauseous, and even hallucinating. Hallucinating for 5 days, Mick.
Really?
Yeah. People stayed inside with windows closed to avoid getting high by accident. The town says that police shouldn't have burned the drugs that way, and they were wrong to arrange the burning bags to spell out lice. Yes, they did that.
Oh, my God. But think about, like, weed is a flower, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. How much of it do you have to assemble 20 tons? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it.
Think about the work it just takes to assemble 20 tons of anything.
Well, think about a dump truck.
Yeah.
And you have that full of weed. I bet maybe that's what? How much? I wouldn't even know. It's crazy.
In the back of a dump truck? Yeah, it could be tons, right?
I don't know. It could be not a ton because it's all so light.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works, but that's wild.
That is. Yeah.
I wish I'd lived in Turkey. That would have been a fun week. David, let me ask you. Is I know Jamaica has a massive marijuana thing. Is Bermuda the same way? Like, is it a big thing in Bermuda?
Yeah, it's a social. It's a big social thing.
Yeah.
Right on line of alcohol.
Right.
Bermuda will tell you they love to drink.
They
enjoy. It's such a social thing. Drinking. Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
They like to have a little bubbly.
What is the drink of choice for most Bermudians?
Well, we have a Bermuda drink, dark and stormy. Black rum, black guzzling rum.
I figured it must have been rum.
Beer.
Yeah. And ginger beer. Love ginger beer.
And that guzzling rum, they go to 100 proof. They're 150. They'll put some licks on you.
Man. Yeah, I'm not drinking with no Bermudians. That's for sure. I'll smoke a joint with one, but I ain't drinking with one. That's for sure.
All right, you got to bear with me while I geek out on this last story here.
Sure, buddy.
I don't know. Whoever's a huge Back to the Future fan is going to love to hear this and sound off in the comments if you are.
All right.
Michael J. Fox has announced a new book called Future Boy, detailing his time in Back to the Future and Family Ties. Now, I love both of those things growing up.
I'm a huge Michael J. Fox fan. I just root for that guy. Yeah. I hate what happened to him.
Me too.
I love him.
So I love the show back in the day, and the movie is my all-time favorite franchise.
Wow.
Michael J. Fox is headed back to the past in a new book. He's 63. He shared his story with People magazine. It'll be coming out. Future Boy delves into a specific time in Fox's storied career, namely the year 1985, when the actor was steadily rising to fame as Alex P. Keaton on the NBC sitcom Family Ties. That same year, and I don't know if you know this, while he was shooting Back to the Future, Fox landed him his landmark role as Marty McFly in Back to the Future, and he found himself working on Family Ties during the day and then filming Back to the Future literally all night long.
Yeah.
And his book details what it was like to play two iconic characters in that time of history.
Fortunately, they're not too far apart. You know,
True.
The Family Ties guy, he was a little more together and with it, where Back to the Future, he was kind of aloof and, you know, a teenager, so to speak. But I think that's a tremendous movie. I love it. I'll read that book.
He's a great comedic actor, and just the schedule had to be grueling.
Oh my God. Have you ever had to do any of that stuff, David? The actor. Did you ever get into any of that?
Just little basic commercials here and here. Yeah.
But you never did a movie or anything like that?
Like that. No.
It's a whole bunch of sitting around and waiting.
Yeah, you got to study and remember stuff.
Yeah.
I remember them saying they would drive him to the set of Family Ties in the morning after shooting all night.
Yeah.
And they had like a bed set up
Yeah,
in the
and he'd
back of the
sleep for a
station
little
wagon,
while.
and he would try to get some sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched the documentary on the making of it.
Yep.
And they did talk about the fact that he was shooting Family Ties at the same time.
Yeah.
So fascinating stuff. All right, Matt. Thank you. That's the facts.
That is the facts, Matt.
David Bascome. Is it Bascome? Is that how you say it?
It's Bascome.
Bascome.
B is for Bascome. A is for Ascom. I think you'll probably like that.
Yeah.
And S is for scum. So you just keep it going, right? And C is for I'm not going to tell you, right? So that's going to help you remember these shit because you.
Bascome.
Yep.
David Bascome, head coach, Baltimore Blast. Please check out BaltimoreBlast.com. David, anything you'd like to promote or anything you'd like to talk about before we end the show?
No, everything's been covered, and I really appreciate you guys being a voice.
Yeah.
Because that's important, getting the information out there.
We
So
tried.
you're doing a great job, so I really appreciate it.
Real pleasure having you, David.
Yeah, David,
For sure.
and we're going to get you back up many times, and please send the word to your players that it's an open door here, and you can be their liaison to set it up. And good luck. I'm a big fan, my friend, not only as a soccer guy, but just as a man. You're a good man, David Bascome.
Thanks, I appreciate
Glad
it.
I got to know you. Everybody else, tomorrow, live, Natalie's Seafood Kitchen in Falston. Oh, I would be so remiss, though.
Yeah.
Official, Ed Hale has announced he is running for governor officially.
Oh, is that right?
He made the announcement.
Oh, wow. That's great.
And it is official, but I am honored
Heard it
to
here
say
first.
you heard it here first. And David knows that.
That's right.
So congratulations to Ed, and I'm officially endorsing Ed Hale, if that matters. The
course.
Mickey Talk Show officially endorses Ed Hale for governor. Everybody, thank you. Matt, where do people find us?
Let's remind people too, tomorrow at Natalie's, we're going to have Howie from Ballyhoo dropping by as our guest tomorrow. So that's going to be a blast. But please follow us on YouTube. You can go on there and subscribe, youtube.com/Mickey Talks Pod, and find us everywhere that podcasts are available right now. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all Amazon, everywhere.
David, where can people reach you if they'd like to? Where's the easiest way?
The easiest way, Instagram, just follow,
Yeah.
At Coach Bascome.
Coach Bascome,
Yeah.
Bascome. Please, David, thank you. Matt, thank you. We will see everyone tomorrow at Natalie's Seafood. Take care, be safe, and remember, we love you here at Mickey Talks. Bye, everybody.